enough time for us to delve into the goodie bag and pull out a few questions, talk about a few things that are burning issues in the Dota scene, and look ahead to our grand final. And to do that, we've got two expert names alongside me. Fogged and Winter have joined us for the grand final. Gents, should be a good final overall. When you look at the way that these two teams have played and the action they've given us, LGD's bounce back against DG, this should be good. Very competitive.
Two teams that have been playing the best, and I think drafting overall the best most consistently at this tournament.
Doesn't always happen this way, does it? You don't always get, two informed teams reaching something trips them up along the way. Sometimes something falls over. Yeah, but they seem really good.
It's impressive too, right? It's LGD with the stand-in, and they made it to the top 2 already. Yeah,
it does raise one question. As I said, we're about 15 minutes away, so we've got a chance to talk a little bit, outside the box. And I wanted to talk Dota 2 championship points. Circuit points, because there's an issue here. LGD won't get full points here.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Seems a bit mean to me. I get why, because obviously they're using a stand-in who's not registered for them, but he's the coach. It's not like they've gone out and stolen a player from someone else, and that's why they haven't got. Because he gets points, by the way. He gets half points, so he's sitting there as an unregistered player with some points, which in theory means a team who don't have any points can go and nick him and they'll have points. Not that they would do that at this stage, but seriously. It does seem a bit mean, though, that you get penalised for using the coach. Surely the coaches should be registered, shouldn't they?
That's what I had thought.
It's a good point, though.
Yeah.
Well,
seems reasonable,
why wouldn't
doesn't
the
it?
coach be registered? And with the new rule that the coach is allowed to be a part of in the draft phase.
Exactly. That's what I was.
I mean,
they are
the sixth person. I hate saying sixth man because it's not always man, but sixth person in the team. Therefore, are part of the team unit. Therefore, who else do they get? Short notice to stand in for illnesses, force majeure, family issue, whatever it might be. You're going to need someone to stand in, aren't you? And
it's a coach. It's part of the roster now, technically at that point. And it's also like Victoria had a very glaring issue, right? He's very sick, so it's
genuine.
Yeah,
maybe it's something we can take to Valve. Maybe they can make an alteration to that rule and allow the coach to be registered or something.
You used to be able to register a 6-man.
Yeah.
But they changed it.
But now, as Fogg says, now the coach is a genuine part of the team. So surely that's okay now.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that idea. I think coaches playing on behalf of the players, you should be registered under the team. The points should go to the team. Why not?
Because now he has these empty points, right? Like you were saying. Like,
well, he has 15 points from the semi, because he got 15 from the 30, but he'll now get more for being in the grand final. So, maybe he's got points, and then all of his teammates, unfortunately, because they only get 4 score, it's the best 3 of the team, but they also get a reduced amount of points as well.
He can be like, I'm the only coach with points. Look at me.
I go to TI.
You make a new team before TI. Try to recruit the coaches that have points. Play for me. Points.
Points for coaches. There's a hashtag in there somewhere. It's very interesting also on the points. Obviously, Mineski leave here, and they will be top. That's a good start, isn't it, after 2 minors?
Yeah.
Might not be next week.
Might not be next week, because the major's worth quite a lot more, but I think that's a lot of people probably looked at Mineski and they were like, these guys have, they have Daryl, they have Ice, they have Mushi, they have these big star players, but I don't think people were really expecting them to come out this strong right away.
Okay. One of the other issues that's burning around the Dota fringes right now in terms of discussion is the best player of all time, which we brought up on Twitter a couple of days ago. There was a lot of people in there with various different views. I just wonder what your take was on it, in the sense that it's difficult to measure players against different eras of players, isn't it? A Dendi from TI1, for instance, against a Kuroki from TI7. It's very difficult, actually, to kind of measure their impact and their success. How do you go about saying who's the greatest player of all time?
Is it like based off role as well? Because you could argue that it could be like Fly.
I mean, this was just an open
major champion. Yep. We have like TI winners and everything. I think it's a really hard question to answer personally.
Skill-wise, I would say probably Miracle.
Yeah.
Skill-wise.
Personal skill.
Yeah. Because he's the latest of the batch as well, I guess.
Yeah. And Dota has changed so much that.
But that's part of the problem, though, isn't it? Winter, how do you measure what Dota was like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, compared to how it is now?
But I think the Miracle right now, and compared to maybe an TI2 who was the best player, maybe best mate Dandy, Mushi, but I think Miracle is definitely higher skilled compared to during that time, like in the same era.
Okay.
I think he has a higher ceiling.
Let me throw it this way then. If you throw Miracle against Dendi in mid in 2012, who wins? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you throw Dendy in now against Miracle Image, sure, okay, fine, Miracle wins, right? Because it's his era now. I just thought I'd get your views, because I think it's a really interesting subject, and it's a very passionate one, because obviously I think older fans will tend to lean more towards the puppies, the Dendies, fears of this world, whereas the newer fans, I'm not saying that they're worse or bad or anything else, but just that the newer fans that are big now, will probably lean more towards Miracle, Kuroki, that kind of thing. So
we're living in the present, though, not the past. Yeah. So I would always look to what's happening right now. I mean, not to say that what they have achieved in the past is not meaningful. It's still a big achievement, what they have done in the past. But Dota, right now, we are moving forward. We are not going backward. We're always looking in front. Who's the greatest player now? The young players that are coming up, we look at that.
Okay, seems like a good point to move on to our final then, because the teams are just getting themselves ready, warming up, ready for the first draft. So let's check in with our first team of the grand final. Grand finalists for the second consecutive week, and both in minors. Looking to go one step further than last week's defeat at the hands of the TI champions Team Liquid. They go head-to-head with LGD, with this man on form as well right now. Ice has been playing absolutely fantastically. And Winter, I think it's fair to say that he's playing much more for his team than he's ever done before. Have you seen anything different today? Is the old Daryl started to sneak back in? Because seriously, in the group stage, it seemed like he was playing very much for his team.
Yeah, I think I guess you're right. In general, there are still games that he's really, he really selfish. He wants to get the Midas and doesn't want to buy a Blink. But I think overall, in general, he's playing around with his team more, because he has a better team around him right now compared to Faceless. He has teammates that he can trust more, can count on more. Mushi is carrying sometimes, Nana is carrying, sometimes Jebs is playing really well. Mike can also carry the team. He's not the only one that has to step up.
Yeah. I want to pick out Moon as well. What have you made of his performances so far?
I've been very impressed with him. I really like his hero pool as well, currently in the patch. I think his Mirana, the Tinker, and the other big one he's been playing, and the Puck, those three have been really spectacular. His rotations and his item decisions and his luck at getting double damage runs as well.
Luck is part of the game.
Luck. What are you on about?
It is and it isn't, because he's actually very smart too. We've seen Bottle kind of been falling off a lot of the mid laners, but he buys Bottle like every single game, and he always looks for those runes. Even later on in the stages of the game, he always goes and checks that. So I've been very impressed by Nana for sure.
I mean, there's been a couple of fights where he's been involved where that DD's come in really handy and has turned a fight, hasn't it? So
Haze as well. It's not only just the DDs.
It's not just the DDs. Yeah. It's runes in general on him.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's turn our attention to their grand final opponents this time round, playing with a stand-in. He is their coach after all, but still a stand-in. Struggled a little bit on day one, but since then have got stronger and stronger. The opponents are a team in form, LGD. Invited to the tournament as one of the two teams invited in, and they've made their way through and justified that invitation by reaching the grand final. It's a great start to the season, the brand new season for LGD. First opportunity to grab some points, and that's exactly what they've done. Found themselves in the grand final with a shot at the title, and some would say largely down to that man on your screen right now, Amez had a great tournament.
They've progressed so much. Me and Winter were talking just outside before, and we're like, the game when we saw them versus Infamous, and they almost lost their first opening game pretty handedly, and then they just came back.
That first 20 minutes was awful.
Yeah, they've definitely looked to improve so much. 357 looking a lot more comfortable on this team.
That's like a mark of a good team. They improved throughout the tournament. They fixed issues. I mean, they have a stand-in, but still, he's drafting for them. He knows the team well. And the two cores, I'm really impressed by two of the cores, Arme and Somnus, maybe.
Yeah.
Both of them have been like doing a lot of work in their games. If you give them a good start, they're going to snowball and do a lot for their team.
Do you feel like this man on screen has improved in his role and his adaptation, and maybe he's got slightly better heroes to choose from now?
He still has like a very limited selection of heroes, though. Not very broad, but he definitely fits in with the team much better compared to on the first day. He got better, but still, so I think average.
Still a question mark there, isn't
because
there?
he's switching roles. You can't. It's very difficult to get into the roles in a quick time.
The Enchantress Orc group was pretty good, though.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It suits him. I think you want to give him like a lane dominating hero, like for two heroes that maybe there are three heroes that I would give him: Ench, Underlord, and Batrider. Those are the three heroes I would give him.
Okay, be interesting to see what they do. We'll turn our attention towards the draft relatively shortly, but in terms of hero pools, I did want to discuss the two because it's very interesting when you look at them.
Shared.
Well, there are so many that are shared in here, and I think we might see a few common bands, but also just the depth at which both teams have played. 26 for LGD, 29 different heroes played by Mineski so far. The key difference is that only one hero has been played more than twice by LGD this tournament, and that's Winter Wyvern. Whereas on the other side, they've picked Mirana 7 times. And we already know LGD play that, so that's going to be a competitive hero. Whether it's banned, whether it's picked, it's going to be featured in almost every game, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that one and the Earth Spirit are the two ones that I was looking up for in this game.
Yeah, probably. Maybe the Puck. I think Puck might pop up in this matchup. It's a good replacement for the Mirana.
What do you think about Silencer?
Silencer.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones that's been.
Okay, for LGD, I think their favorite position 5 would be the Wyvern and the Jakiro. These are the two more likely ones for LGD. I think for Mineski, it's a bit more open. Silencer has been picked a few times in their recent games, but I think it might actually be matchup specific. They were playing against MVP. MVP likes to fight, so they want a global against that. Maybe against LGD, they might change things, but still, it's a very good and solid position 5 hero.
Yeah, they've played Silencer 4 times out of the 8 matches so far. Clockwork 4, Earthshaker 4, Mirana 7. They're their top 4 that they've played more than 4 times. So grouping those together quite well. And in terms of bans, they've banned the Wisp 7 times. It seems relatively straightforward that they don't play it, and they don't like playing against it. And also, the Brood has been banned 5 times, and they've been brooded as well.
LGD doesn't. Does LGD play the Brood? I guess they could, but it's not super common. I don't think so, right?
I don't think there'll be a Brood from LGD. If you see a Spider, it's going to be on Mineski.
Yeah. And what about IO?
I don't think any.
I don't think either.
They don't buy that. So in other words, what I'm saying is that they have 2 of their go-to bans, which they don't have to worry about necessarily in this game. Does that give them a slight advantage, do you think?
For
Mineski, they don't have to worry about those 2 things that they seem to worry about almost every game.
I think if you can ever have a Brood player, it always gives you a bit more of an advantage. So whenever you have these players that can just pick this last pick hero that ruins a draft, ruins a game, it's definitely incredibly important. Liquid talks about it all the time. They're like, we have Huskar players, we have Broodmother players, we have all these kind of guys that don't really care playing these and just ruining the enemy's team or the enemy's lineup.
I mean, the only hero they don't play is like Meepo, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But
imagine they get a Meepo player in there now as well. I mean,
or someone becomes the Meepo player.
Indeed. Yeah, that's always a worry, isn't it? You've got no tail in your team. You always sort of think, they might. Okay, let's talk about our featured matchup now. Which matchup do you feel is going to be competitive here?
I feel like it has to be a core matchup.
Mid lane. I think mid lane is very, very important for both of the teams. They have a very similar matchup, hero that they want on the mid lane, the Mirana, which is highly contested. They both play Ember. So that's why I think the Puck might actually pop up, because these 2 heroes you might have only one available and the other team has to resort into something else. So we might see a replacement in terms of the Puck, or Puck could be snatched up right away.
No, yeah, it's going to be a very competitive lane, isn't it? Why are these 2 so important to their teams?
I think they're a little bit different, though. I think Moon's more selfless than Maybe. Maybe's more of like that hard carry mid laner that we still see coming out. While Moon, even though he's playing these Miranas and these hard carries, I see him ganking a lot more often. He's like, oh, I get a rune, I'm level 6, I'm going to go gank the safe lane. While Maybe he's like, I'm going to get a rune, and I'm going to play more conservatively, get my items, and then maybe make for that play.
Sometimes too much, though. I think that's his also some of his weakness. Like he goes for too many kills. Like he goes for like kills that doesn't mean anything. He goes for like a support kill, and he runs in, and he has a very good chance of dying. And he takes those risks because he's so aggressive. That is also, I find, sometimes really bad for his team because he's giving away a lot of experience and goal. Yeah,
it does go very deep sometimes, doesn't it, on a map, especially in the early game.
It's a bad habit because you tend to play so aggressive and it happens.
Okay. In terms of other areas, they've both got...
I was going to say their warding. I've actually been looking at a couple of the replays of both these teams, and I've been very impressed by their vision game. Ninja Boogie has been constantly sneaking in, getting these very aggressive wards during the game, and then on the other side, LGD in the middle of team fights, they've been placing these high ground vision wards, and it's like they completely crush the fight just because they get a cleaner initiation than the other team.
Yeah, vision game could be very important as we head into our first draft. Just a reminder for you at home, this is a best-of-3 grand final for all the marbles between Mineski and LGD Gaming. We have come to our final series of the tournament after 4 days of fantastic Dodo, I have to say. It's been a real pleasure for me. Always a joy to come and do Dodo events anyway, but I think I've been very lucky with some of the matches we've had this week because they've been fantastic.
I'm always happy when we get the two teams that have played the best in the finals.
Exactly, because like sometimes it doesn't, because of the way that the mix up with the bracket. Yeah, and sometimes you get one stuck in the groups and you think, yeah, I would have liked to have seen them. But I genuinely think we've got the best 2 teams. In terms of the way that they've played this week.
So the bans are rather different right now, like very targeted to their opponents. Mineski has been running this position for Earthshaker all the time. LGD decides that we don't want to deal with it because LGD is a team that they focus a lot on team fight. Yes. They want to take very good team fights. They want to beat you. So they're probably going to snatch the Earth Spirit and and they don't want to give the Earthshaker to Mineski.
So we silencer on LGD.
We said the silencer, yeah.
And it's the second most pick for Mineski. So they've kind of blocked pick that. It's a pick ban.
I guess Earth Spirit Jakiro could be a good response here. You find a replacement for that team fighting position 5. And Earth Spirit is just like both teams kind of want the hero.
And you wouldn't imagine LGD to grab like Wyvern Silencer, so you don't need to worry about the Wyvern unless you grab it yourself. But Earth Spirit for sure.
Yeah.
These are the ones that we talked about, right? The Earth Spirit Silencer, top 2.
The other possible thing is Earth Spirit Puck here if they don't want the Jakiro. Earth Spirit Puck or Earth Spirit Mirana. I think those are the very possible options here for Mineski that are solid. You look at the opening, you feel like there's a lot of possibilities that can still happen in the picks later on. Opens up a lot of options.
I think one of them decides to grab the Mirana early.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Because it's going to be a contested hero here in this matchup.
Sure. I love the way that Nanav has been playing the Mirana, so I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, I think Puck or Mirana.
Yeah. There we go.
So so they have their Flexi hero. So what is LG going to go for their Flexi hero? Maybe the Puck. They go for the Puck, but Puck is like I don't see them picking the hero too much. They seem like not to favor the hero, and it's against Earth Spirit. Some teams generally don't like Puck against Earth Spirit.
You think maybe they just pick up a
support?
A support at this point?
Like a Sand King.
Like Jakiro maybe? Something just early that they like?
No, I think it's going to be like a Sand King or a hero like this. Like Yao. They want to put Yao on like a team fighting hero, like an initiating hero. A dagger hero maybe. He's either played Earth Spirit or Sand King so far.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 heroes he's been playing. So I kind of expect it to be the Sand King, even though I'm not too much of a fan of a position for Sand King. There are only a few players that can actually make it work. It's very difficult to make a position for Sand King work.
How do you rate Yao's though? Do you think it does work? I wouldn't say it's been banned, is it? You can't nothing stood out.
Yeah, it's like you don't even want to ban it, but I wouldn't say it worked all the time, but it works sometimes.
It's a reliable disable, right? Reliable disable, team fight, and it's catch, which when you have silencer,
the thing is like it suits his character and playstyle. It suits him. It might not be a good hero in the meta, but it's good for the player. They're picking it for the player. Because he's also switching roles. They have to draft around certain picks for him.
Yeah.
So both teams have their lineups. LGD is going towards just like the team fight. Chinese team, LGD, always have a very, very heavy team fight. So when you're matched up against a heavy team fight, you have two options. One, you draft even more team fight. Two, you get a lot of wave clear. So the idea behind that is you shuffle all the lanes. They are the team that wants to fight. But they have to deal with the lanes, so they can't fight. So that's the way you play against it. And you find a timing to actually fight them because you are the one controlling the pace of the game with the creep equilibrium. They ban up the Storm. Storm very good with the Silencer. Multiple initiators. They don't have the Bat anymore. So those two are probably the best with Silencer.
Yeah, because any heroes can just start the fight for sure. And they've been loving the pair of the Venge Mirana on the side of Mineski, so no shocker to see LGD actually take that one out.
Still anti-mage though. Still anti-mage and Lich. Both are still available in the pool. I could actually see Mineski grabbing Lich AM because of the fact that I just mentioned. If the enemy has superior team fight, you split the map. Lich is going to win you the lane, allow you to split push later with an AM, and it's going to make it very annoying for the opponent. That could be a possible solution to the LGD's lineup. I think they are just looking to ban out like heroes that could actually just single-handedly win out the game. Yeah, they ban out the Arc Warden. Those two, Arc Warden and Storm, those are two heroes that can actually single-handedly win the game. Like how we mentioned, the two cores on LGD, Somnus and Arme, they are both very, very good cores. They can actually win the game if they're given a good hero in a good situation.
And Ame's only played a couple heroes here that he's really stood out on. That Terrorblade, the Arc Warden.
I think he plays almost everything, yeah. He plays Terrorblade, he plays AM, he plays Arc Warden.
But he likes more of like these pushing heroes, like the ones that can really push like towers and take advantage because
of the team.
Because the team, yeah. And Somnus doesn't really play those heroes. He usually plays except for his Lash, but we won't see Lash.
Like the balance is like they have a pushing carry, and then they have like a mid laner that's always going for kills.
Yeah.
One kills heroes, one kills buildings. And they ban out the Pugner. Sand King, I guess. Sand King is very scared to go up against the Pugner because of the ward.
You think that's Ice's hero?
Mineski? Yeah, I think he's the only one that plays the hero.
I think so as well.
I am quite sure of that. I've seen Mushi play the hero, but I don't think he will be very comfortable on that hero. So Monkey King is like a mix of both. Monkey King is team fight and wave clear. He has both. So depending on the situation of the game, he can do whichever they need. If they are strong to fight, he can join the fights with items. But if the game is not going well for them, they have the Monkey for the split push, the wave clear, and the Mirana. They have two heroes already.
And I like that they have more catch with that. The Monkey King always gives you like multiple more disables. Earth Spirit, Mirana, Monkey King, they're already set out to have good team fight,
triple
good
stuns.
disables, and LGD goes for maybe Ember Spirit pretty early on too, since they already know the core matchup.
Didn't we see like Arme play the hero like one game, like earlier?
Did he go? He went the. Was that him who went the safe lane phase drum build?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, that was him. He did go phase drum.
So still a flexible pick for them.
Sure.
It could go both lanes.
But like you said, it's another hero that pairs well with the Silencer, right? That hero that can jump in, start the fights with the global.
Yeah.
And he can actually look for the Monkey King, right? You can like search for him in the trees. And it's catch for his Mirana because you can't leap out of the chains.
So because they have Monkey King, I'm wondering if they're actually going to still go back for Puck and put Mushi on the Mirana. Because Puck and Monkey King is very, very good together, like the synergy. You coil and you put the Wukong's command on top of that.
Do you think they'll still go for something like Lich? Even though it's only shown magic damage on the side of LGD, it doesn't seem that likely. But it's good for the lane.
Depends on what they want to put Mushi on. If they want to put Mushi on AM, they'll go for Lich. If they want to pick something else, to go Jakiro, I think.
Yeah, I think the Lich.
So they have like right now very good lanes and very, very good team fight. They can definitely contest the team fight right now. If anything, I think they have stronger team fight right now. Lich, Earth Spirit, and the Monkey. These three heroes provide you with so much team fight. And LGD is definitely going to, I think, even draft more team fight, like some heavy team fight hero. Maybe a Magnus or Magnus Ember, Void. Actually, I'm not so sure about Void here. I kind of like the Magnus more because of the Ember. I've seen FY play the hero recently during their qualifiers. And you can also have the Skewer, another spell to search for the monkey in the trees.
Or something else that FY's been playing a lot of recently is Darkseer.
Could work actually. What do you think, Yanis? Darkseer? I'm not a big fan of the
hero.
No, me, not right now anyway.
Yeah, because he got nerfed. Like we've seen one game, right? It's here. Like someone picked Darkseer, but
Safe lane darks here.
It didn't work out so well. I think it was BG.
Thunder.
Yeah, BG Thunder, yeah, I think it's them. Someone picked it, I remember. Didn't really impress me too much. I mean, they have a decent combo. Vacuum into the Sand King stun, the Burrow Strike, and you have the Iron Shell on the Ember Spirit, which is something really, really scary. But I do think that they are definitely going to pick more team fight and maybe Magnus. The Magnus tied like a Void kind of hero. I'm not so sure about Void. So they're just going to go for more lane. This is a lane
dominator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they enjoyed the Enchantress earlier with FY, so...
Yeah, but then the team fight, it means they're giving up on the team fight though, because the last pick is probably going to be their carry, which would not give too much team fight. I actually don't really like this pick so much, but I know that Enchantress is really good against Monkey King. Say you get a lane mashup, Enchantress against Monkey, that's going to work really well for the Ench.
And you're eventually like a Hurricane Pike builder, which is incredibly good versus Monkey King at all stages.
So maybe that's the idea. They want to put the Ench against the Monkey and lane the carry elsewhere. Possibly could happen for LGD here, but I'm not too big a fan of that pick here right now.
I don't like it versus like all the burst damage and like you said, the super overwhelming team fight that Mineski has at the moment could be problematic for that.
So they're probably going to be speed pushing themselves right now, because if you look at their setup, the first two is team fight, then Ember Spirit is like a hero that can move around, like a very mobile hero. And then they followed up with the fourth pick, which is a strong laning hero. So I think it leads me to think that they're actually going to go for like some AM, some kind of like a big speed pushing hero. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I'm actually getting that vibe right now. Because otherwise the Enchantress will be feeling really weird.
Yep, it's been a top pick for Ame, of course, the AM, so not out of the bounds of possibility.
Yeah, but it's going to be like AM against Monkey King though. That's...
Yeah.
Still think, don't you think Mineski can still go for the AM for themselves?
Possibly.
And then they can have the super late game anyway? Like they have the good team fight, they have the 4 heroes that can fight without the anti-mage. I think it would be a really good pick.
I still like it. Still very good. I think if LGD doesn't want it, they probably will ban it. Or they pick TB and they just let you pick AM.
That's like what they like to do too.
Yeah.
Ame is of course,
because the matchup is actually really good for TB. TB can just destroy the AM. Like there's a lot of timings. You have faster timing than the AM, so they ban out the Necro. I guess still a possible pick for Mineski here, but I don't think they will pick it personally. But
if they're thinking the Mirana is Moons, then
they still go for the safe lane member, right?
Yeah, they pretty much switch everything up. The last 2 picks is all for lanes. So LGD, it tells me that LGD has this idea that against Mineski, we cannot go for too much team fight. We want some team fight with our supports, and then the rest of our cores, we want to give them good lane matchups. That's when the Ench and the Ursa pops up.
So I really like AM, for Mineski. I think it gives them like the late game, as long as they don't get run over in the lanes.
Pretty much everything though with the AM. Late game, early game, team fight, speed push, catch.
Phantom Assassin. That's to try to
Ench counter?
It's great versus Ench and great versus Ember Spirit as well, because low armor.
Low armor. So it's going to be a mid. PLH mid?
I do think so. Yeah. No, it looks like they're still going to put them around in mid.
No, they might switch lanes though. Sometimes they might switch. I'm not sure about the laning phase, but I'm still siding with Mineski this one. I think they have the overall much more balanced lineup with strengths in each department. The lane, the mid game with team fight. They have decent Roshan as well with the PA. So Mineski for me.
Okay.
I think they've got over-glaring team fight on Mineski. I do really like what they've got going. And Ame playing Ursa, we saw maybe playing it, but Ame playing it, I like him more when he's just playing these hard carry type heroes, and that's not one of them.
Okay. So Mineski for you. Okay. Both of our experts have taken Mineski to win the opening game in this best of 3 grand final. Are they going to be correct? We'll find out, of course, at the end of this one. Who takes the advantage early on? Let's find out as we head over to our commentary team for the opening of the grand final. Some Magic and some Star Wars with Merlini and Toby 1.
That makes you the Magic.
Woo! I do like playing in heroes, if that counts.
I believe that. I believe that woo. That woo.
Yeah, it wasn't fake.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was only missing the W at the end to be a real LD wow. We are going to go into this game. It is familiar territory for Mineski. I don't know if it's familiar territory to have the panel actually go full one-sided with Mineski. Do you believe in the boys as well?
I like their lineup more. However, Mushi PA I have a question mark about that. I saw his PL. I was not happy with his PL. His PA, I haven't seen him play too much. There's some heroes he just plays amazingly. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all in on Mushi this game. Like his Vengeful Spirit is really, really good. His Phantom Assassin, I don't think I'm going to be impressed by it.
How? Okay. Where can you go wrong with Phantom Assassin?
Builds are hard with PA because you have to build BKB at some point generally, but PA also really struggles a lot versus Silencer. It's not often that you see that matchup here because Phantom Assassin is one of those heroes that actually needs to cast tons of spells. Whereas spells are 6 and 5 seconds, respectively, on her first 2 spells. So that means Curse of the Silent is going to just is going to destroy you. And you don't have a good way to get it off, right? You have to deal with global already. So like, what are you going to get? BKB Manta? Like those are not really great, but you know, you can just go to Phase Dezo. I do like the matchup versus the Enchantress though. High attack speed is great versus the Ench, and also she's a low armor hero versus the pure physical, which is very good.
Yeah. So lane matchup works when LGD, as Winter and Fogg were saying, like at the end of the draft, they were trying to balance their lanes up to give themselves an advantage. And with our lanes actually unfolding now, it looks like at least Mineski will get that matchup of PA versus the Enchantress up on the top, unless, no, okay, he just was there for the rune. It is still going to be Ice on the off lane. They've gone for practically the same build with the PMS. The only difference is the shared tangos, and LGD are going to make life difficult for Mushi. Yep. 2 heroes already moving into position. There's no vision from the Radiant in this area as well. So Yao's moving in. He's got boots as well as the Burrow Strike ready. Chicken reveals itself for half a second, but they want Mushi just to come a little bit further out. So Flame Gun starts doing its damage, but Mushi's too close to the tower. It looks like Yao, as well as QQQ, doesn't believe that's on.
That wasn't a good block coming out from maybe. That's one of the problems with having supports over here is that they won't actually be in position to get a good block for the lane.
It's harassment, nothing more, with the Burrow Strike.
Just a little bit. Sand King's not great at harassing like that. You need a little bit more room to chase generally. But Silencer getting a lot of work done on bottom lane.
Yeah. Arcane Curse made it a lot easier when both Moon and Ninja Boogie stand next to each other.
Yep. And they did get the Enchantress versus the Monkey King matchup that they did want. So Ursa in the off lane, not very common, but still it's gonna be fine for FY.
Yao just messed up his timing. He came down a fraction of a second too early. He was looking for the Courier Snipe, and he aggroed the range creep. So it didn't really work for him on that front. But
it's still really hard to get a Courier kill as a melee. You generally have to smoke for it this early in the game.
Yeah. So far, he hasn't wanted to commit that heavily into it. Because we did see the movement from Mineski up on top. Monkey King does not want to let FY have space. There's a nice little Phantom Strike away from Mushi. Is okay. Jabs, no. I don't think he got the memo that they were not investing into this mid lane with a gank. Somnus, Slide of Fist, Searing Chains, an early point in that slide. He was able to close the distance, but not enough.
That was very well played by maybe still. Trying to, oh, okay, he's still dying. He is not level 3 yet. I think you really need that level 3 untouchable or level 2 untouchable before you can really stand in lane versus Monkey. But yeah. Ice versus Monkey King is very scary.
Nice arrow from Moon. Already set it up with the Frost Blast. It's enough slow that it was guaranteed to find the kill.
Tough times. They drafted for the lanes and still are losing the lanes.
Yeah. Lich holds the lane back. Monkey King, Ice just does Ice things. And all Mushi has to do is, well, stay even with CS and not die to the heavy rotations. The amount of times Yao's actually committed to this mid lane, like you haven't seen him take any of the bounty runes, and he's sitting still shy of level 2, leeching experience from Somnus.
He could kill the Monkey King. I think Monkey King's a fairly easy kill for them. He's very low on regen right now after that first maneuver, but looks like they're just trying to pressure the other cores, more importantly, the ones that need more farm.
And this vision of Mineski, like, again, they've been fantastic with this throughout the entire tournament. But that one observer watched most of the rotations down the bot lane, so it saw the fact that Silencer was moving in. It didn't, however, see the invis rune of Yao's. Ninja Boogie in close, puts on the Frost Blast, rolling boulder forward. They're creating space, allowing Mirana to leap herself further away, and they're focusing on QQQ. Moon, not a lot of life, and that Arcane Curse is still problematic. He'll need to regenerate back up again, but Invis Gang from LGD not paying off.
This is also a tough Ursa game, too. Like, Ursa is going to need Diffusal. It's a hard life for melee heroes dealing with Frost Armor. Ember, not really in that same vein because he doesn't really just plain right-click that much.
It's always funny watching, like, Monkey King who wants to get to the 4-hit, but up against 2 points up in Untouchable. Makes it very difficult bottom lane. Arme in real issues. Leap forward, Starfall. That bonus damage will be enough. And QQQ already did everything he possibly could.
They are getting destroyed in the lanes. It's not looking so good for them.
So how do you recover? Like, the Sand King's now moving around, at least able to secure the DD rune for Somnus' bottle. He took a bounty rune, but, like, the Silencer is forced off the bottom lane.
We haven't actually seen Lich too much this tournament, and there's kind of varying philosophies on how to deal with Lich. Some players swear that you should just, if Lich is safe lane, you just don't go to that lane. Like, you either overcommit to the lane so you can actually kill him, or you just commit nobody because you're not getting any experience from all the denied range creeps. So that's one way that people view dealing with Lich, but it looks like they're actually just sitting in the lane, so they're still going to get a lot of their XP ruined in that bottom lane as a result. So I think they do need to get maybe 1 or 2 kills on the Lich because he is still kind of just making life absolutely miserable for Ursa. Luckily for Ursa, he can catch up through Roche, but you know, you're not really looking at Roche right now. You're looking at more in the 10 to 15 minute range. Yeah.
I suppose, like, with the build you're getting in from the Enchantress, you can go in there and tank Roshan while Ursa kills it off. But at this rate, okay, mid lane, Mushi able to blink away. Somnus, you're in pretty deep at the moment. He is level 6, however. Stifling Dagger slowing him up. Yow's in the neighborhood. Maybe need to create a little bit of space with the Burrow Strike. Jabs is already in there with a kick. Somnus just walking it off like a stitch.
He wanted them going. He has 10 stick charges in his inventory, so he was not really in danger, even though he was low.
It's just the lack of... It's the lack of defensive spirit and a potential crit from Mushi. Because he cracked level 6 while that was all going on. Always get a little bit cautious about things.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Blight though, so it's not as bad as it would seem. I wonder if he is going to get a Blight. I've seen a lot of PAs go without Blight, and it's just like, why? I mean, Blight is just so good on that hero. And it actually helps you hit towers too, which is a pretty big weakness for PA.
Oh, PA just found himself a haste rune. QQQ is going to come out looking for it. He is not in... Actually, he was for a second in range of Radiant Vision, thanks to the Observer Ward. But Jabs is wrapping around the back. Aggressive ward on the bottom lane, behind the Tier 1 tower.
I wonder if any of the cores are going to build Silver Edge too on LGD to deal with the PA blur. Because the Ursa and the Monkey King, you don't really want 2 heroes to build MKB. It's kind of a big waste, especially when it's doubtful that Monkey King's going to have any evasion. He doesn't go... They usually go for an attack speed talent at level 10.
Well, it seems like the Ursa is the only one where it makes sense to build a Silver Edge, but even then he wants a Blink Dagger.
No, I think the Enchantress can build it too.
Somnus in trouble, but jump away. Escapes ISI's initiation, thanks to the defensive spirit, and now will burn the shrine. Meanwhile, FY is making the most out of ISIS not being there. Enchants the Radiant Siege creep. Looks to add pressure to that top Tier 1.
He finally has phase, so Monkey King did get that one-on-one kill, so he was a phase up on...
They're going to gank her. Somnus he's got 3 spirits ready to commit. All they got to do is just hold Monkey King in position. And Impetus damage is almost enough to do it. It'll be Somnus who gets it with that Slider Fist. So, nice rotations in from LGD. Critical one for them. They'll lose QQQ in the meantime. In mid lane, quick silence onto the SK. And he cannot get himself out just yet. The silence lasts a little bit longer, so we got the Burrow Strike on Mushi. But he knew he wasn't going to outrun a haste-ruined Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, tough break for LGD there. Losing 2 supports though, and getting the Monkey King in a tower at is pretty good. Nice use of the range creep by FY. They have terrible tower hitters, so I'm actually very surprised that they got a tower this early. I was looking at their lineup, I was like, oh my god, Ember and Ursa, how are they ever going to right-click towers unless they just win a team fight?
Enchantress stole an army to double catapult. That's what you...
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Her with a lance, I guess, is like not the worst thing in the world, but it's still pretty bad. So no Blight, the Blightless build.
You were already saying like how you're uncertain about the builds on PA. Yeah, that's what makes the hero.
Mushi's kind of hit or miss. I remember watching his Ember at Starladder one season. I was just like, oh my god, he does not play Ember Spirit ever.
No, you were mentioning your level of tilt before. Nice little dodge from Yao. Moon's not going to hit that one.
I think Black also went a Blightless Phantom Assassin too, but it's very, very rare. I think sometimes you might do it if you're going for like a magic-oriented build versus very high armor heroes. I think TB in particular, but even then, it's like it's still dubious.
There's a smoke movement coming in from Mineski. Mushi, he stuck around a little bit longer just so he could pick up the phase boost, but now it's both Mushi and Jabs teaming up. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Yao, nice Burrow strike, Spirit committal. Moon will end up falling, and the rebuttal is coming from Mineski. So, what is their target? There's 2 to go for, and they definitely want to grab FY. A quick slap, jump in, and the following jump, and even a kick from Jabs, following up into the silence. They will be able to catch up to him. He's got one quick last word, and the score's problem for Jabs. He's already starting his TP out. The damage from the range creep, it's not enough to kill him. He'll live with the regeneration of the fountain, and Mineski, even though they do lose that safe laner, they end up taking 2 up on top. But once again, LGD is pressuring buildings.
Enchantress is very, very poor versus mass physical burst too, so you can see the inherently bad matchup that the Enchantress has. Just no time to heal up at all. Might have to itemize more for HP as opposed to damage. Like you might need to build like a Lance super early on for that extra strength.
Do you have much of a problem doing that? Like Lance Hurricane Pike to push? Obviously the PA can just Phantom Strike back in again.
Oh, it's
like
great
to get
PA.
Monkey King out of his ulti too.
Potentially, yeah. I think Pike's pretty much a no-brainer on Enchantress. But the Blight on PA would also help out the Monkey King a lot too, who's also very high physical based. Okay, I see him building a Desert. I can breathe a sigh of relief.
Phase Boots, Aquila, PMS first. Basic items, then we can look into the extra stuff. Even though Blightstone is obviously insanely cheap. Ninja Boogie's in a bad spot. Yao going to come in for the Burrow Strike. In from behind, but it's more of a setup here for Armei, who can rip apart that Lich. He lets the Chain Frost go, but it's kind of just like, at the end of it. Little bit of damage, hold the creep wave back. LGD maybe a little bit lucky it didn't bounce unfavorably towards them.
So now is about the time you can start thinking about Roche. It's almost nighttime. Pretty good time to do it because they don't have great ways of scouting. I would say maybe Monkey King can scout around the pit, maybe an arrow, but still, whenever you versus Urza, the window is very, very small to try and contest Roche. And he is also going for a Mask of Madness, so that also cuts down on the window a little bit more. So if Monkey King like shows on bottom lane, for example, that would be a perfect time for them to maybe even TP to the shrine and do it. So ISSIS has to be very careful about where he moves and make sure that he does stick around that area so that he can scout out Roche just in case.
Well, he is actually headed down to bottom lane. Like, he's in the jungle for the moment, but in a couple of seconds he'll reveal on bot.
They do have good wards, though, around Roche, and they know that Ursa isn't going to go for Blink Dagger first because he does have the mask. So I think they're, like, still...
They're iffy about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Moon's scouting. He's probably the only one that can escape with 12-1 charges and that level 2 leap.
They'd have to smoke for Roche, too. So...
Do you think it's like LGD can still do it? Like you talk about Monkey King revealing himself on bottom. Having
no.
Enchantress also revealing herself on bottom, doesn't that take away a large portion of the easy power that LGD has to do Roshan?
Nah, Urza can do it by himself. Urza's just the best solo Roche hero. Hands down, no question about it, especially if he has lifesteal. Like sometimes you can do it without lifesteal if you have if you're just really farmed, or if you have a DD rune. But with a mask, it should be super easy. If
Mineski is really uncertain about what's going on at the moment, but with the Moonlight Shadow, there's an Invis rune on the Earth Spirit. I'm looking for detection right now on LGD, and it just doesn't exist. The arrow will fly astray. Moon unable to connect onto Somnus, and because this is nighttime, the vision range is quite poor. Mineski cannot find their target. And LGD, they're already moving up. Phase boost from Armei. He's not going into Roshan, however. Angle up.
They still have to worry about it, though. Look at the other two heroes. They're like, you have to just constantly consider it, especially when there's like a feign maneuver and nothing actually happens in that bottom lane. And you'll see them just hanging around, seeing what's going on. Where are you?
Ursa goes missing from the map. Their observer ward's too shallow on the dire side of the jungle.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Mineski just don't understand what's going on at the moment.
That's the first obvious time for them to do Roche too. So you don't...
Moon, get out of that leap. If it wasn't for that high ground observer ward, he would be dead right now. Sleight of Fist Searing Chains would have grabbed him.
Yeah, he did completely reveal the ward though, but worth it to save his life.
The ward's only got a minute and a half left on it, so they may not be too sad about that.
They might make a move. His shield is almost down.
Oh, they see him. Oh, actually, do they? The Observer Ward's a little bit too far off, so instead they go top. Rolling Boulder into Kick Silence, and Yao in a world of hurt. Moon combining up with the heavy damage of Mushi and jabs.
Oh, that hurts. He was at like 1,800, 1,900 gold before that.
Ice is waiting on bottom. He's really keeping this bottom lane pushed in, so the tier 1 tower is kind of always under threat. We're 14 minutes in. Ursa's had the Mask of Madness for a while. And it's like he's waiting until he completes his Blink Dagger before he goes near Roshan.
Oh, it's one of those games where they're like not in a firm position of power. So if they actually do take a fight around the Roche pit, Lich ult Earth Spirit would destroy them. So they have to be a little bit careful. And it's also one of those games where if you don't get Roche, you're probably going to be useless for the majority of the game as Ursa. So he does have to approach it with care.
So you have to get Roshan, but don't feed your life. Like what's happening to Ninja Boogie underneath the tier 1 tower.
No, you just wait for
this with the DD.
You just wait for a good opportunity. You don't want like a 50-50 chance of getting Roche for free.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point at some time. They just have to be patient.
That good opportunity seems really hard though. Like LGD keep having to react to the split pushing that's coming in from Mineski.
Well, once it gets Blink, it's also better too, because then he doesn't have to expend a smoke to do it. So that's also something else.
That's if they have vision, like you still have to come around the top. If you do that, then you're going to come in range of the... Actually, the Radiant Observer was now timing out. But there'll be a new ward pretty soon by Mineski placed down. Who's actually got him? It's in the hands of the Lich at the moment. So I'm interested to see where Ninja Boogie's going to be placing that. Our next attention should be up towards top. Rolling Boulder Silence once again, but Chabs finds himself in way too deep, turns on the Magnetize. The Creep Wave will soak up the arrow from Moon. I was going to try and create a little bit of space. Even Moonlight Shadow being triggered, but with the Sentry Ward down from LGD, they had perfect vision.
They can also take a big team fight pretty soon. They almost have the Blink Dagger on Yao, and then they can use Yao to Burrow Strike and Epicenter into a fight with a Global Silence. That should be an easy win fight. There's no way they can deal with the Global Silence this early in the game if the Burrow Strike is well placed. There's no BKBs, no Manta Styles, no Lotus Swords, no Yules.
And Boogie,
that's a fast Deso from Mushi. He's getting there.
He got all the space up on top. Like, LGD's adding pressure towards bottom. They're trying to fight and be around Roshan, and Ursa went into the jungle. And Mushi just went top lane.
Yeah.
Disappeared for a good 5 minutes and then farmed up the entire thing.
And now they have pretty good Roche potential too, with the PA and then the Frost Armor. It's all pretty good. Having a lot of trouble pushing out the lanes right now, though, on the side of LGD. Yeah. But with BOTs up on maybe, it should be much easier now.
It's amazing how many levels and farm Ice has managed to achieve on this bottom lane, because he hasn't left it. Like, you talked about Monkey King revealing himself on the bottom lane being a bad thing, but the level of pressure he's had down here without having to move off. Oh, that crit! Woo! All right.
Yep.
That's an observer's challenge right there. When a hero with one attack can go from 100% to 10%.
That's the thing. He's going the same item build as he did in the other Enchantress game, but this is a completely different game where he went phase drums into Pike into Orchid, but like that's no armor and very little HP. Like
LGD, it's the Blink Dagger Epicenter from Yao, jumping himself forward. Nice burst reveal. Lich Chain Frost going to be bouncing around between Ame as well as Yao until Yao hides in the invisive sandstorm.
He might need to consider buying a Ghost Scepter on the Enchantress quite early on. But, I mean, he's already so far into the 4-staff that it's kind of hard not to.
Got to commit to what he's got.
Yeah.
Mirana just picked up a Diffusal Blade as well, so I don't know if the Ghost Scepter is really going to help him that much. Battle on bottom lane, Rolling Boulder forward, but Defensive Spirit's there. So Ember Spirit able to get back out again from the initiation on bottom.
Tiny bit late on the silence.
Where is Ame off to? It's like he's trying to find Jab. Starts his TP underneath the shrine. Jabs will see him at the last moment. And pinging out the fact that he's moving, but he's right underneath the creep wave anyway, so Mineski know all. There's your 4-staff on FY. So it doesn't have the health, but at least has the maneuverability that comes with it.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, realistically in a fight, you're going to get daggered, and then you're going to get Blink Strike. You're going to get hit once, and then you hit the 4-staff. So if, like, one of those is a crit, God forbid if both are a crit, he's still going to have a lot of trouble surviving. And Monkey King Boundless Strike, that thing will destroy him, especially with the Deso debuff on him. So I am very worried for FY's life.
He'll try and live. If he had a little bit more money to his name, maybe we'd have some more confidence. Like you look at Mushi there at the moment, sitting at the top net worth on the board, but you'll have to go halfway down and a bit further to catch up to FY's net worth.
Yeah, he's just going to have to play it safe and just sit in the back and rely a lot more on the Ursa and the Ember to create havoc.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now the Ursa doesn't have that ticket to create havoc. He needs the Aegis Immortal up his sleeve. And how long do you want to wait? He's got Blink Dagger, he's got Mask of Madness building into the BKB now as well. This is all taking time. Ember Spirit went for the magical kind of aggression. He could have gone with that Veil of Discord. And
he needs armor badly. Like,
yeah.
Armor is very important in this game. Like even to the point where Ursa might consider building a Vlad for his team instead of the Mask of Madness. The Mask of Madness helps him farm a lot faster, but it's just something else to consider when you really want armor for your team. Like no one else is really going to buy a Vlad except for him.
Well, both teams scanning out. Mineski's checking Roshan. And LGD is checking behind. Actually, was that the other way around? Need to color those scans. Either way, scan around Roshan, scan around the mid-tier 1 Tower of Radiant. Both don't flag anything. LGD are very defensive up on that top lane. It's like they're waiting for somebody to come up and farm it.
PA was around that area, but Mushi's been playing it safe. Mushi's been playing very well this game.
Now, he's actually backed up towards his own Ancients. Always dodging the movement of LGD. I still haven't seen Ice move off this bottom lane. Not in the last 10 minutes. He's almost got Diffusal Blade.
Yeah, so much for Ghost Scepter.
Yeah, there's 2 Diffusal Blades up. One on Murano, one on the Monkey King shortly.
And so much for Ember's Yules too. That might be tough for him.
Armee's farming up near the Ancients. So Mineski can have that early warning. We asked where the ward was going to go from Ninja Boogie, and he got it in really nice and deep. And you see LGD trying to counter ward around Roshan. They put down the sentry near the top rune. But thanks to that observe ward, they saw the blink in. They understand that Armee is now doing Roshan. How will Mineski react?
Well, they'd have to react with a buyback if they wanted to defend this, but that's not really happening.
Yeah, Mushi dying is not the way you want this to go down.
That's the thing, they were so patient on
Got
top
the
lane.
arrow. Arrow will fly forward and, well, it'll hit the Ursa, but already LGD have the Aegis Immortal in their hands. And, okay, they're going to go in. You've got the Wukong's command out. Yao will get the Burrow Strike off, but with Wukong's command, it's difficult for Armee to get back out. He'll end up having the Aegis Immortal triggered and 4 heroes surrounding him. The buyback from Mushi still hasn't come, but the arrow from Moon hitting right on the money. Armee kicked out. He will go down twice. Enchantress ends up buying back. So you get Roshan, but you lose the Ursa twice. You end up burning money on an Enchantress who was already piss poor. That is not exactly how LGD thought that was going to happen.
That was very poorly played by LGD. Well, they saw the... I don't think they expected him to jump, but with the arrow, they actually caught a glimpse of the tail end of the Enrage. It was like, okay, well, Ursa doesn't have Enrage. We can arrow him immediately after Aegis. Why not? Let's do it. But they should have just force-staff him out right here. I think if you just push him out, the fight is okay. He's outside of the pit. He's not locked in. He can blink out. He's almost out of Monkey King ult, but it was just way too sloppy. FY, I think, been maybe playing a little bit too selfishly in these games.
And now they lose Yao as well. After all of that, that's problematic to say the least for LGD. They'll need a good opening. Somnus. Well, if he had a little bit more mana, he has the 1 charges available, so he just roots up Moon. But we'll see how much battle they've got when Armee comes in. And that definitely took Moon by surprise. That quick burst damage. Both Overpower plus Mask of Madness.
Monkey King is so farmed, though. He's more farmed than Ursa right now. That's a big problem.
Echo Saber and Diffusal Blade. Having a little bit of trouble. Starts his TP out. There is no stun available, however. Yao's TP takes too long.
And BKB now on PA.
Well, she has the entire thing. BKB Deso.
Yeah. Pretty much no chance of her dying in BKB. There's usually like Impetus and Empower, Overpower Ursa are pretty good at taking her down, but not through the blur. No, she's going to be ridiculously strong in these next team fights. So I think LGD just have to just sit back and not really do that much for a while.
That doesn't seem like a wonderful plan when PA continues to like, well, grow with levels of money.
Yeah, it's
like late game, Mineski's lineup looks very, very scary. Maybe not so much.
Right now, it looks very scary, though. You have Diffusal on Monkey King, you have BKB on PA, so these two are just going to destroy the fight. And LGD, they'd have to catch someone off guard. But, like, even with a... I mean, maybe they can catch Mushi out with a stun and use a lot of Magic Burst at the start of the fight, but even that's, like, very, very risky. And I think that Global Silence is losing a lot of value right now because of how slow the game is and how quickly Mineski are getting their BKBs. Mineski are just really fast though with the fight too. They like casted all their spells before the global came out during the Roche pit. So like Global Silence and the Sand King ulti has just not really been spot on.
It's kind of difficult as well for like LGD two respondents. You said like they die so quickly. And what happens if that kiting does happen? Like Wukong's command comes in, you don't want to walk into it anyway. Top tier 2 towers now going to fall, and LGD is still wondering exactly how do they play this. Ice is swinging from trees up on top, hoping someone from LGD will come out of the base, but no one's there from LGD. The new creep wave's on the way in. With that jump forward, he doesn't see all the way up yet, but LGD did just see Ice jump inside the base, but TPs are coming to bottom lane. Somnus is on the tower, and LGD are ready for this fight. Yao's perfectly behind the tree. Side of Fist-Searing Chain's going to find Mushi. Remember, he has the BKB. He is ready to fight. And the only thing defending the top lane for LGD currently is an Enchantress creep. So they're bringing more friends in.
This warding by Mineski too.
They just saw the Ursa.
In the dire jungle. Well, he has BKB, so he's feeling okay.
Yep. But it's just seeing him and then being able to move away like Moon was farming. It's like, okay, well, this isn't a play. So they just changed their lanes up. There's only 2 remaining tier 2 towers. You could just split the lanes out a little bit more. Bottom lane, Epicenter, Mushi has to be controlled, gets the BKB off. Yao, Burrow strikes up at Mushi. Man, that follow.
Did I what's sinking?
Yeah. Monkey King, lets the Wukong command go. Man, Arme's dying to this. BKB burnt from him, limps away. He is really expecting Ice to hit like that.
Yeah, that was so ambitious. He's not level 12. There's not the Veil debuff on him. He, I believe, Phantom Assassin also went for the HP talent. Yeah. So that's, nicely played.
One way to push him down. Up in the trees, taking a lot of damage. Quick slap, Searing Chains. Arrow will fly forward, connects on FY. One more attack from Ice will get it. Not certain if really worth it when the Burrow Strike from Yao is able to connect onto Moon. And both Arme and Somnus will catch up to him quickly. The trade-off is the tier 2 tower on the bottom lane that Mushi is currently taking.
Well, smoke got detected.
So they're actually coming around the back. Jabs is just playing King of the Hill. He's got Blink Dagger, so he can easily jump back down. Or, okay, maybe not so easily now. Rolling Boulder, he's silenced up. The tier 2 tower's already gone. And Jabs, okay, stick on the hill. And that's what that is. And Ninja Boogie will die as well. Mineski are actually managed to somehow lose 4 heroes across almost every part of this map.
Nice play from FY, though. Of all the ways to... I mean, I guess it's their only way to really break a tree. I don't see any Quelling Blades out anymore. So
it's just gonna be that 4-stomp through.
Yeah, casual slip and slide.
I actually only have that one. You're right. There's nothing else. Like, there's no other 4-stops. Like Silencer, maybe he would love to afford that, but
Ember could too with a Remnant. He tried it earlier, but yeah, that'd be just it's very improbable. You have to know exactly where he is, or kind of guess.
Mushi's gonna be finding a friend pretty soon. Somnus. Just in the neighborhood. BKB is now done for Ice. So the big melee cause of Mineski now having that magic immunity.
BKB is a big problem because they can't do anything versus BKB. Like if it's BKB wars, Ursa usually wins that fight, but not this game. There's Frost Armor that he's going to have to deal with, and then there's Blur, and then there's Monkey King also with a ton of armor during his ulti, and additional armor from Frost Armor, and then he's lifestealing with Jingu, and he's against low armor heroes, so he's going to be hitting really, really hard. So like you don't want a large-scale engagement if you're LGD. You're just going to burn your BKBs, you're going to run away, and then you're probably going to lose 1 or 2 heroes. And Mineski are probably still going to win the non-BKB wars too because of the PA.
That's a lot of problems to list on a piece of paper,
but
man.
You just kind of, you kind of wait it out a little bit.
Oh, Mineski missing their target. They were smoked up looking for QQQ, who moved down.
You wait for a really good opportunity with the Sand King. So Yao has a lot on his shoulders this game. It's not going to be the same as the EG series where he can miss 4 epicenters and expect to win the game. He's going to need to have a really good epicenter to start at the fight and get a ton of damage on them before their BKB
Mushi,
hits.
that's it pretty deep. The arrow won't connect, and thanks to the basher on Arme, freshen up. He has something that can get through that BKB, but now the Wukong Command, Global Silence is out. Wukong Command only kind of splits this fight up a little bit and ends with Silencer dying and Mushi having room to escape. The tier 2 tower has fallen as well. Some heavy commitments, BKBs, both of them burnt from Mineski. As well as Ursa, everyone who had it popped it.
Yep, you're happy with BKB and BKB fights. I think he got really unlucky with the blur hits too. Like he actually got clobbered through his BKB. Maybe he didn't have frost armor before that fight. I'm not exactly sure what went on, but there's no way that the Phantom Assassin should be even that close in danger of dying, especially with no epicenter coming out.
Well, you want to play the RNG game, you just have that Mask of Madness as well as Overpower. You're gonna attack so quickly, hit a bash.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not really RNG. It's 50%. 50% is pretty high. You can only get so unlucky with that.
It's good odds, man. It's good odds. Yeah. Am I going red or am I going black? Either way, it's a 50-50 chance. Yao's going to show himself up on top. This is probably the last thing he wanted to do. The kick is perfect in there from Jabs. So SK on the sidelines for 43 seconds. Thought he might have some breathing room while the rest of LGD was hunting mid. They have that Invis rune on the Ursa as Arme. He hasn't found a target yet. Now he'll find Ninja Boogie. Moon in the neighborhood, but Ninja Boogie dead so quickly. They're going to defuse a blade on Ursa, so he's actually out of mana for the moment. Makes it difficult to use those wonderful items of his. And then BKB. He has enough. Rolling boulder forward. This BKB is not going to last much longer. And LGD don't want to come up here and try and help him. And needs to come closer towards the shrine. So instead, they just let the Ursa die. There is the follow-up into the mid, but the follow-up is Mineski. It's not the other way. LGD continuously losing heroes. Spirit jump in and out. Mushi's BKB will protect him as Somnus is able to get to that defensive spirit near the Ancients and TP all the way home. But more heroes on the sideline at LGD. The only good thing for them is the fact that Roshan is max spawn time.
Whew. Usually that's a bad thing if you're an Ursa.
They actually checked it before and they couldn't do it.
Maybe still made the most out of that. Almost killing Mushi and at the very least popping his BKB at that point and not dying. Good. I still have to give it a lot of credit for that. And yeah, Ame, I think Fog mentioned on the panel, he's usually known for these like harder carries, like the Terrorblade Anti-Mage, and then like he just traded his life for a Lich. Normally you just like BKB TP out, but he got his mana burned very, very quickly.
This ward near the Ancients, like we've seen VGJ do it. Almost every single person has done it near the Radiant Ancients.
Yep.
I think it's like the standard ward almost now for VGJ as well as LGD. But you missed it with the Sentry. So Roshan begins.
Yeah, where are you, dude?
Lanes are pushed out. Somnus has BTs. He can come to the shrine. Roshan's down to 50%.
DD, too easy.
Yep.
Oh, or is it?
They're smoked up. Like, if this DD wasn't here, they would have potentially had a chance of arriving in time. Now they jump in. Arme with the BKB and the Searing Chains. They bring down the Earth Spirit, combining with the Epicenter. Moon is low, but Mushi, a 16, almost 1700 crit, ends Arme. And they're looking for more. Yao stunned in the corner. The bounce up here by Monkey King. He'll pounce back down again. Combining up with the rest of the double damage of Mushi to find these kills. The Siphoning Dagger slowing down QQQ. And Ice 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 will grab this one. 3 heroes lost. Aegis the Immortal. Oh boy. Still intact on the Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, the DD made all the difference there. It would have been much different fight. Because the Epicenter came out, but it was like very expected, very easy to pop your BKB when they're all not inside the pit. And yeah, Mushi just crushes them.
Why pick a Phantom Assassin? For that exact reason. Somnus in trouble, Diffuser Blade's going to work Mushi. Phantom Strike forward, Somnus just bouncing around. jumping from shrine to shrine, while Mineski beat at the tier 3 town. Fortification will wear off. Another defensive spirit is down for Somnus. Mushi, not a healthy man, but remember he's got the Aegis Immortal. He's happy to commit if they can get something in return. The Glimmer Cape making it difficult for LGD just to jump on him, as Ice has popped the BKB. Wukong Command is available, so if LGD want to come out to this, they'll come into it with a double boundless perfect strike. Ice.
It might need to start getting banned out, actually.
Oh, I think Ame's dead as well. One crit, he's even going to get bashed up by Mushi. The BKB versus BKB. Who wins this one? They've got the regeneration of the shrine. Now it's worn off. Somnus silenced up. Mushi looking for the crit. Yalbara strikes in, but Moon hits the money with the arrow. And LGD, they're almost all dead. Where's that rolling boulder? Not going to happen with the start of Fist Searing Chains, but the Stifling Dagger crits, slows, and the Boundless Strike. Now officially, they're all dead. You can buy back on the Ember, but they realize resistance is futile. LGD gets slapped down by Mineski in game 1.
Yeah, the PA countered 2 of their picks really hard, and they played it very well. Just played it slow. Ice. I really do think Ice's Monkey King probably second phase ban would be appropriate. He was very good at finding farm and just getting so much done around the map and in the team fights.
He ended up finishing that game with 16,000 damage. Not too shabby. There's only one person who was above him. Considering the crits that were happening in those fights, it was Mushi with like an extra 1,000-ish worth of damage over him. It was a wonderful display from both Mushi and Ice. Great teamwork by all of Mineski, and LGD got to think up something and have a little bit of a break to work it out and come back for game 2.